48 hours in Cape Town, South Africa.
This second ridge was the one that was kind of like scary for me.
Literally, there was a penguin right under our car before we backed out Table Mountain, especially at sunset hours. If you guys could manage to hike it back down, 10 out of 10 would recommend it. Check out what we did. Welcome back to I'm Out Traveling, guys. My name is Raul.
And I'm Eli.
And today we're talking about 48 hours in Cape Town, South Africa. Before we get started on day number one, let's talk about the lodging. We stayed at an Airbnb, beautiful Airbnb overlooking False Bay in St. Simon's Town. One of my favorite Airbnbs I stayed at in my life. The best part about the Airbnb was not only the views, but there was a gym, which, as you guys know, we love to work out, but working out in that gym with that nice view, just overlooking False Bay, I'm telling you right now, if you gotta book an Airbnb for Cape Town or for South Africa in general, this is the one you want. It's a 45-minute drive from Cape Town, but it's still worth it. And the reason why we picked St. Simon's Town as our Airbnb location is because we knew we wanted to do a lot of activities down that side, like Boulders Beach, and also even possibly swimming with the great whites. So we picked that location on purpose. But if you want something more urban living, like in the middle of downtown, you definitely want to do something in Cape Town. So you have choices: Cape Town for the city life, or False Bay, St. Simon's if you want to be more in the coastal town.
Our first item up was Boulders Beach. We wanted to go and see the penguin.
For adults, it's $10. It's about 120 Rand. And then for children, it's 95 Rand, so $5. So $10 for USD for adults, $5 for children. Also, be aware of the parking because sometimes penguins are under your car too. Just be aware of that. But Boulders Beach, by far, I'm telling you right now, is one of the best things you can do, especially for $10 USD. I mean, it's a great experience.
You know what I'm noticing? Look around us right now. Look how many people are here.
Yeah,
It's 10:23. We got here at 9:30 and there was like 5 people on the beach. I would recommend getting here maybe even earlier than that, like at 9 in the morning, because we had the beach to ourselves and we saw the penguins. Now there are not any penguins and there's a lot of people here.
All right, so day number one, while that was the first activity, we had 2 more activities that same day. The next one was Bo-Kaap. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly or not, but it's a town in Cape Town, and essentially it's this place where Eli took his drone. I mean, he shot some awesome shots of the town itself, but it's very colorful buildings. We walked around the town, and what do you think about that town?
like you said, different colors all over the entire area. It's a lot of very culturally rich. There's tons of different restaurants and spots in South Africa like that come together. It's like all the countries that kind of shift in that one little spot.
We were also hungry, so we decided to eat at an Indian restaurant. We wanted to eat somewhere local, somewhere cool, and we found on Google this Indian restaurant that was right in Bo-Kaap, but it was a little bit higher up in Bo-Kaap, where it had a nice view of the city. The food was actually pretty good. We did a little taste testing. What was your thought on the food itself?
Yep, so really what sold us was that view. The Indian food was really, really tasty, and it got us prepped up for what came next. And from that view, we could see what was next. It was Table Mountain. And so we set off and drove on over.
All right, Raul, so we're in the car right now. Plan is either to hike up or to take the cable up and then hike back down, but we want to make it up there for a good bit of time to actually enjoy the sights and to, I don't know, we want to see rocks.
So here's the thing about Table Mountain. Parking is pretty limited as well too, but you gotta be careful because once you get there, you're literally parking right next to the cliff. And we saw live in person, a guy almost drove off the cliff, parking his car.
This guy's trying to park
Bro,
us.
this place is crazy. Oh shit, oh shit, oh my God. Almost went off the mountain. Oh my God, that would have been scary. Oh my God.
And they do have guys there to help you out, but they can't be at all the spots. So just all I gotta say is just be careful when you're parking. Keep in mind that it's gonna be tight and it's very busy, so get there early if you want to.
It was incredible, and it was probably one of the more physically demanding things we did. We chose to take the less physically demanding way up. We took the gondola, but where we parked, you could also start the hike from that area as well.
So it makes sense. I mean, we got here pretty late and that's what we saw in the reviews. That if you get here like past 1 o'clock, the queues won't be as long. But if you get here early in the morning, you may be doing like a 3-hour queue.
Well, if you get right at prime time, like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., they were saying like it's maybe 3 to 4 hours of just waiting in line trying to get on there. So people will buy fast passes, which is more than already amount of $12.
All right, so we are in the gondola and the floor is a rotating floor. Now there is 2 little windows out there, so don't rush to a window because ultimately everybody's gonna get the opportunity.
We definitely rushed to a window to get a good shot.
We did. You bumped people out of the way too and everything. Look at that.
This is it.
All right, we made it to the top from the cable car. The ride was pretty cool.
It was easy. It was fast.
It was
fun.
fast. Yeah, it took us nothing but like 2 minutes. There was no queue, which was awesome. But speaking of queues, Look at the queue to get back down.
No queue to go up.
That's easily a 30-minute queue to go down.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, when we were down there, we were waiting a good like 5-6 minutes just to come up, and it was a smaller group. That's easily a 30 or 45-minute queue to go down.
Yes.
We're not gonna have a queue going down though.
Nope. Yeah, we could skip the line.
We're gonna hike it down. Indeed, we decided not to buy a ticket, and one of the things that we heard were that if you don't have a ticket to go down, you're stuck.
You're walking either way.
So you better buy your ticket if you want to go down in the gondola. Otherwise, you're hiking down just like us. But let's enjoy some of these views now before sunset.
The gondola, it was round trip, $20 USD per person, adults, and $13 USD per children.
All right, so Eli's up there. We're about to climb this ridge, pop the drone up in the air to get some epic shots, and then come back down to then eventually start the actual hike down. But we had to get out of the way over there to make sure that we could pop the drone in the air. So the measures we go to get the best content possible. Here you go. Let's start this.
I mean, once it closed, obviously the tourists, it cleared out. So it was just us and the mountain. I don't think anybody else stayed behind to hike it. It was just us.
Mission accomplished. I'm not gonna lie, I almost backed out of the mission, but Eli kept on pushing me. That guy back there, whoo! Wow, the view. So we just finished taking pictures. Now we're making the descent back to the gondola. Even though the gondola is closed, that's the way back down to the hike. So we're about to hike back down. The views though, they were incredible. Highly, highly recommend it. This is not for the average person, but if you're an adventure seeker and you have somebody like Eli in your group and they push you, then do it. Trust me, it's worth it.
Yep, so it took us a bit of time to get down, then a 45-minute drive back to our Airbnb, getting us back around 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And we had an early morning the next day.
Before we go on to day number 2, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe to make sure we continue creating this great content for you guys.
The best area to go was at a bay about 3 hours away. What was that called?
Gansbaai.
Gansbaai, about 3 hours away. So 3 a.m., Raul drove first and I took a nap. We headed out.
Raul drove the entire time, not just first, the entire trip. Round trip too, all right?
I provided music in the last hour.
All right.
Eli's feeling nervous. Eli just said I look stupid.
I like that that's how you start the video. You start the whole video like that. I was sad it wasn't on purpose.
Yeah. Next time.
Goodbye.
The trip over there wasn't a bust though. Like it was a really incredible experience to go under the water in a cage with sharks. We got to do that and got crazy cool footage of it too. Go down, baby. Ready?
Oh yeah. It was the last 2 to 3 minutes in the water where it just hit me. That shivering cold just hit me. And that's it. When I got out of the water, like I'm still kind of like shaking a little bit.
And then on the way back from Gansbaai, we had probably one of my favorite experiences. We got to stop at a BP.
A BP, yeah, a quick stop or quickie, whatever it's called. But we stopped for gas and ultimately turned into one of the best experiences of our trip.
No great whites, but you know what? We still had a great time. Saw the bronze whalers, pretty massive size. And now we're here at a Pick and Pay gas station. And the guys are cleaning our car, pumping our gas. There's a DJ outside too, which is pretty cool.
It was the exact definition of culture shock. I was shocked by how cool the culture was out of nowhere at a gas station. They brought music, they had sweets and treats, and I thought, let's just get this going. And so we all started a dance party in this gas station parking lot.
You were definitely the life of the party. All right, so yeah, the gas station was awesome. We came back to our Airbnb, and that leads us to the final part of day number 2.
Yeah, we got to meet up with some of our friends, and that was the whole reason we're actually in Africa. Cape Town was supposed to be a pivot, and it ended up being an incredible experience, which is why I'm making a whole video on it. But we were there for Adventure More.
Adventure More. So this trip, what we did was we actually got there a little bit earlier so we could explore it and get ready for Namibia. So that's a video that's coming up in the near future. But ultimately, I would rate Cape Town, South Africa, or just South Africa in general, 10 out of 10. We didn't do everything, but what we did in that short period of time was more than enough. So I could only imagine how many more things there are to do in South Africa. So I give it a 10 out of 10. I know that's pretty obvious, but what would you rate the trip?
For 2 days, I give it a 10 out of 10. We did everything we could. We crammed everything. There was no time to nap, no time to rest. We barely even worked out. Like, we had time to do everything. I thought, like I said, I think it warrants another trip there. To actually see what a week there would look like, or what 2 weeks would look like. I know there's so many other opportunities like safaris, surfing. You could do so much more hikes.
Overall, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. This was a great trip to Cape Town, South Africa. So thank you once again for joining me.
Let's run it back another week.
We'll see you guys in Namibia for the next video.